Hi, my name is Chine and welcome to my YouTube channel. On this page, we love to talk about all things perfume and smelling good. So if you're a new viewer, hello, hi, please subscribe to my channel. We have lots of fun here. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for tuning in. As always, all the perfumes mentioned in this video will be linked in the description. And you guys know I am team sample over blind buying. So if you want to grab samples of any of these perfumes, you can use Chine10 to grab samples on scentsplit.com. Let's get into it. Chocolate perfumes get a bad rep. A lot of people say that the perfume smells synthetic. And there's definitely some truth to that. I feel that chocolate is a note that's kind of challenging to execute. You can end up smelling very dark and very bitter. You can end up smelling very plasticky and very synthetic and very chemically. These chocolate perfumes do not have that. These are delicious, airy, there's nothing synthetic about them, and they all have a little bit of essential energy, which is perfect for the upcoming Valentine's Day. Chocolate Greedy by Montal. Montal is known for Arabian's tonka, roses, musks, but a lot of people don't talk about their gourmand fragrances. Chocolate Greedy is a perfect fragrance if you want to smell like chocolate, but you don't want that heavy, dense, sticky chocolate feeling. This fragrance is severely underrated as far as chocolate fragrances go. This one has notes of cacao, vanilla, tonka bean, and bitter orange, but the bitter orange here is done really well. It doesn't come off as an overwhelmingly citrus kind of fragrance. Instead, the bitter orange kind of cuts the sweetness from the chocolate and stops the fragrance from being way too sweet. On first spray, this fragrance smells like you open up a tin of cocoa powder. It is so rich and very powdery. Imagine like crumbs of cocoa puffs at the bottom of the bag. That is exactly the vibe of this. And even though this fragrance is a chocolate fragrance, it isn't a very heavy chocolate. There's something about this fragrance that is very airy. As it dries down, you start to get more of that fluffy, chocolatey vibe. Imagine like a cup of hot cocoa and then you're adding marshmallow toppings to it. That is how this fragrance starts to wear on your skin. Montal is known for beast mode fragrances, but this fragrance is not beast mode. It doesn't fill up a room. It's not going to announce your arrival, but it has a decent lasting power, especially for a fragrance that doesn't have a lot of woody and darker notes in the base. I would say that this fragrance lasts 5 hours on my skin and it sits really close to the skin. The dry down of this fragrance is my favorite part because the tonka and the vanilla start to show up a lot more. And it's able to add a slight creaminess to this fragrance. It just makes you radiate off your skin in the best way. So yeah, if you're curious about chocolate perfumes and you're not ready to commit to smelling very heavy and decadent and chocolatey, Chocolate Greedy is a great fragrance to start with. Everybody raves about Happy Dust and Narco Oasis by Narcotica, but Dulce Diablo is severely underrated. This is a fragrance that I can promise you that when you have this on, nobody's going to smell like you. If you're someone that likes the idea of smelling like chocolate covered fruit, then you are going to love Dulce Diablo. This is literally rum infused dark chocolate and then you drizzle it all over dried apricots. That is exactly what this fragrance smells like. It is very photorealistic in that sense. You definitely get the rum, definitely get the apricots, and you definitely get the chocolate. The chocolate in here is less of a milky chocolate and more of a darker chocolate. If you're someone that doesn't like boozy fragrances, you should stay very far away from Dulce Diablo. The booziness in this fragrance is very there and it's very in your face. It has almost like a Bailey's kind of booziness. It is very present. If you wear this around people, they might think that you spilled a drink on yourself. That's how boozy it is, but it's just so rich and it smells so good. This is the kind of fragrance that announces your arrival. When you wear this fragrance and you walk by people, they are going to turn around. It's a very commanding fragrance. It's beast mode. It fills up a room and it smells divine. If you want to smell delectable and have that aura of like sexiness from like the boozy notes and the chocolate, this is your girl. If you do not like the idea of smelling edible in any sense of the word, then this is not a chocolate fragrance for you. And if you're wondering where I was able to get this decant, Scentsplit sells 9 ml decants, which are essentially a travel size and they fit perfectly in your purse. If you're shopping on Scentsplit samples or full sizes, you can always use Chine10 to save. Now, if you're trying to lean more into a sultrier vibe, you still want to smell sweet and feminine, but you don't want to smell edible, you don't want to smell super gourmand, Duchessa is your girl. This fragrance is a stunning cherry, chocolate and brown sugar fragrance. I'm typically not the biggest fan of cherry fragrances, but when I smelled this one, I was like, yeah, I need that. Cherry is also another note that gets a bad rep. A lot of cherry fragrances smell medicinal to a lot of people, myself included, but the cherry in here doesn't smell medicinal. This is a very rich, like darker kind of cherry. This is a very syrupy kind of cherry, the kind of cherry that they put in your Shirley Temple. I wouldn't say that chocolate is a star note in Duchessa, but you can definitely feel its presence. And the chocolate in here is so smooth and pairs perfectly with the cherry. This is black cherry, it's saffron, it's chocolate, it's cloves, it's iris, it's almond and brown sugar. The brown sugar note in this fragrance is perfection. It's able to add a little bit of sweetness to this fragrance without making it overwhelmingly sweet. The addition of saffron and cloves to this fragrance is what really elevates it and stops it from just being another cherry chocolate kind of fragrance. The spices in in here are not very in your face, but they're able to add that intrigue and depth and sensual vibe to the fragrance. Duchessa is the perfect femme fatale option for someone that wants to smell feminine and a little bit sweet, but still have that darker, intriguing energy about them. And this fragrance lasts a long time. It is such a stunner. Now, this is a chocolate perfume for people that take no nonsense. They know exactly who they are and what they want. And don't be scared when you hear oud in the name. The oud in this fragrance is a beginner-friendly oud. The oud in here doesn't overwhelm the fragrance, and it isn't that very barnyardy, like skanky kind of oud. Los Oud de Lis has notes of dark chocolate, hazelnut, cypre, orris, benzoin, and oud. It also has musk and sandalwood. Now, the combination of the dark chocolate with the hazelnuts is very interesting. The hazelnut is able to add a nutty quality to the fragrance. I think there's also walnut in here. So there's a bit of a nutty quality to the fragrance, but there's also that creaminess from the dark chocolate. So this fragrance is woody, nutty, and chocolatey. Personally, I don't get a lot of the orris in this fragrance. There's something a tiny bit powdery about this fragrance, where if you're someone that stays away from orris or iris fragrances, I don't think you have anything to worry about with Los Oud de Lis. Now, this fragrance has a cypre oil notes that can be challenging for a lot of people, so I definitely do not recommend that you blind buy this fragrance. Out of all the fragrances I've discussed today, this one is the least blind buy safe. Do not blind buy Los Oud de Lis. However, if you like the way the oud and cypre are done in Cairo by Penhaligon's, then I think you would really enjoy the way it's done in here. This is a chocolate fragrance that is sexy, that is rich, that is bold, it's trying to garner attention. The longevity of this fragrance is really good, and I swear it gets better and better as it dries down. You start to get more of that nutty creaminess, and it just radiates off your skin in a way that draws people in. This is a very flirtatious and confident chocolate fragrance. The word to truly describe Los Oud de Lis is addictive. It's kind of fragrance that you smell and you keep going back for whiffs of the fragrance. If you love to smell dark, powerful, confident, and you haven't gotten your nose on Los Oud de Lis by word of Chris Collins, I definitely recommend that you do. And finally, we have the Nomada body oil from Rosé. Now, this one isn't a perfume, it's a body oil, but it's perfect if you want to add a little bit of a darker sweetness to your layering combo. This has notes of raspberry, chocolate, cognac, and they are blended to perfection. The cognac in here isn't overwhelming. It doesn't smell like you spilled a drink on yourself. So even though you might not be a lover of boozy fragrances, I still think that this is worth getting your nose on. This body oil is perfect if you want to give grown and sexy. You can use it to layer your favorite vanilla fragrances to add that oomph and seduction to the fragrance. You can also layer it to your favorite oud fragrances to add a little bit of a sweetness and a fruitiness. This deserves its own video that I'm posting on TikTok, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure you also follow me on TikTok. That is a wrap for today's video. Let me know in the comments what are some of your favorite chocolate perfumes, and have you tried any of the chocolate perfumes I featured in today's video. See you next time.